GUI stands for Graphical User Interface, which refers to any system where users interact with a program using visual elements like windows, buttons, menus, and icons instead of typing commands into a console, and this makes software much easier and more intuitive to use, especially for everyday users. In the early days of Java GUI development, the primary toolkit used was AWT, which was Java's first attempt at building graphical interfaces, and it worked by directly relying on the operating system to create and manage every visual component such as buttons, text fields, and windows, and because of this it is known as a heavyweight framework since each component is actually a native OS element. This approach had an interesting advantage because the application would automatically match the look and feel of the operating system, so a Java program running on Windows would look like a Windows application while the same program running on macOS would look like a native Mac application. However, this also created inconsistency because the same Java program could appear differently on different systems and developers had less control over styling and behavior. To overcome these limitations, Java later introduced Swing, which is considered a lightweight framework because instead of depending on the operating system, Java itself draws all the components using its own rendering engine, and this allows Swing applications to look exactly the same across all platforms, providing consistency and more control over appearance and behavior. Swing also introduced a richer set of components and features compared to AWT, making it more powerful and flexible, but it still had limitations when it came to modern UI requirements such as advanced animation styling and high-resolution display support. This is where JavaFX comes in as the modern successor designed to meet current user interface expectations, and it follows a completely different and more structured approach, often compared to a theater where the window is the stage, the content inside is the scene, and the individual elements like buttons, images, and layouts are called nodes. One of the biggest advantages of JavaFX is that it supports CSS styling, which means developers can design interfaces with modern visual effects like rounded corners, shadows, gradients, and animations in a way similar to web development, making applications look much more polished and visually appealing. Additionally, JavaFX provides built-in support for smooth animations, multimedia integration, and better handling of high DPI screens, which makes it far more suitable for modern applications compared to its predecessors. To visualize the evolution, imagine AWT as using pre-made parts from different factories depending on where you are, Swing as building your own consistent set of parts that look the same everywhere, and JavaFX as creating a full-stage production where you not only control the structure but also the style, animations, and overall experience of the performance. Overall, this progression from AWT to Swing to JavaFX shows how Java GUI development has evolved from basic system-dependent interfaces to highly customizable, modern, and visually rich applications. In AWT, the main window of the application is called a frame, and this frame acts as a simple container or outer shell where all the visual components will be placed and displayed, and unlike newer frameworks, AWT directly depends on the operating system's native components, which is one of the reasons why it feels less flexible and more low-level. Because AWT is an older toolkit, the programmer has to do a lot of work manually, such as creating each component, setting its exact position and size, and managing how everything is arranged inside the window instead of relying on automatic layouts or styling systems that modern frameworks provide. In this example, we first create a frame with the title AWT example, which defines the name that appears on the Windows title bar, and then we create a button labeled Click Me, which is a basic interactive element that can respond to user actions, and we manually position this button using setBounds, which specifies exactly where it should appear inside the window in terms of pixel coordinates. After placing the button, we set the size of the window to 300 by 300 pixels, which determines how large the frame will appear on the screen, and since we are using a null layout, we are responsible for positioning everything ourselves, which can quickly become difficult as the interface grows more complex. One important limitation of AWT becomes very clear when we try to close the window, because by default clicking the close button on the frame does not actually stop the program and the window may disappear, but the application continues running in the background unless we explicitly write additional code such as a window listener to handle the close event and terminate the program properly. To visualize this, imagine building a very basic window using raw materials where the frame is like a simple wooden structure. The button is a small component you place inside it, and you have to measure and position everything yourself, and even when you close the door, nothing automatically shuts down unless you install a proper locking mechanism. Overall, this example highlights both the simplicity and the limitations of AWT, where it gives you direct control over GUI creation but requires a lot of manual effort and lacks the convenience, safety, and advanced features that newer frameworks like Swing and JavaFX provide, making it more suitable for learning fundamentals rather than building modern applications. This example shows one of the earliest ways of creating graphical user interfaces in Java using the AWT library, which stands for Abstract Window Toolkit, and although it is now considered quite basic and has largely been replaced by more advanced frameworks, it is still important because it forms the foundation upon which later GUI libraries like Swing and JavaFX were built. We begin by importing the java.awt package, which contains all the core classes needed to create simple graphical components and windows, and this package directly interacts with the underlying operating system, which means it relies on native system components to render the interface. The first step in the program is creating a window using Frame, which acts as the main container, just like a physical window on your computer screen, and this frame is initially empty and serves as the base where we can place other components such as buttons, labels, or text fields. Next, we create a button using Button, which is a simple clickable UI element, and we position it manually using setBounds, where we specify its distance from the top and left edges along with its width and height. And since AWT allows absolute positioning when layout is set to null, we have full control over exactly where the button appears. After creating the button, we add it to the frame, which makes it a visible part of the window, and without this step the button would exist in memory but would not be displayed on the screen because it would not be attached to any container. We then configure the frame by setting its size, which determines how large the window will appear, and we disable the default layout manager by setting the layout to null, which allows us to use manual positioning but also means we must handle all component placement ourselves. Finally, we call setVisible true, which is a crucial step because until this method is called, the window remains hidden, and once invoked, the frame is displayed on the screen along with all the components that have been added to it. To visualize this, imagine building a very simple window from scratch where the frame is like the empty window structure, the button is a small interactive object placed inside it, and setBounds is like measuring exactly where to stick that button, and setVisible is the final step where you open the curtains so that everything becomes visible to the user. Overall, this example highlights how AWT provides a very direct and low-level way of creating GUIs where you manually control positioning and components, and while it lacks the advanced styling and flexibility of modern frameworks, it plays a crucial role in understanding the evolution of Java GUI development. Swing is much more powerful than AWT. Notice that all the component names start with the letter J, like JFrame and JButton. One of the best features of Swing is how easy it is to handle events, like clicking a button. In the example code, we use something called an action listener. This is like a security guard watching the button. When the user clicks it, the guard notices and runs a specific piece of code to show a message box. Swing is still widely used today for building desktop software because it is very stable. This example demonstrates how we can build a simple graphical user interface using Java. Swing, which was one of the earliest and most widely used GUI frameworks in Java, and even though it is now considered older compared to JavaFX, it is still important for understanding how event-driven programming works in desktop applications. We begin by creating a window using JFrame, which acts as the main container for everything in the application, and you can think of it as a blank window or frame where all the components like buttons, labels, or text fields will be placed and displayed to the user. Next, we create a button using JButton, which is an interactive component that the user can click, and we manually position it on the frame using setBounds, which specifies its location and size. And since we are using a null layout, we are responsible for placing components ourselves rather than relying on automatic layout managers. The most important part of this program is adding behavior to the button, which is done using an action listener, and this follows the event-driven programming model where instead of continuously checking for user actions, the program simply waits for an event such as a button click and then executes the corresponding code when that event occurs. Inside the action listener, we define the action performed method, which contains the code that should run when the button is clicked, and in this case we use JOptionPane to display a small pop-up message dialog that informs the user that the button was clicked, and this creates an interactive feedback loop between the user and the application. After setting up the button, we add it to the frame and configure the frame by setting its size, layout, and visibility. And one of the most crucial lines here is setDefaultClose operation, jframe.exit_on_close, which ensures that when the user clicks the close button on the window, the program actually terminates instead of continuing to run in the background, which is a common mistake for beginners. To understand this intuitively, imagine creating a simple control panel where the JFrame is the panel itself, the JButton is a switch, and the action listener is the wiring behind the switch that triggers an action when pressed, and the pop-up dialog is like a signal or response confirming that the action has been performed. Overall, this example shows how Swing uses a combination of components and event listeners to create interactive applications where user actions drive the flow of the program, and although it requires more manual setup compared to modern frameworks, it provides a clear foundation for understanding GUI programming in Java. JavaFX can be understood as the modern and more powerful successor to older GUI frameworks like Swing because it was designed to overcome many of the limitations of Swing by providing better performance, smoother graphics, modern styling capabilities, and improved support for high-resolution displays, which makes it much more suitable for building visually rich and responsive desktop applications in today's environment. A very helpful way to understand JavaFX is through the analogy of a theater where everything is organized in layers and each layer has a specific role in presenting the final experience to the user, and at the top level we have the window, which is called the stage, and this stage acts like the main theater building or performance hall where everything will be displayed to the audience. Inside this stage we place a scene which can be thought of as the actual stage setup for a particular performance, and this scene holds all the visual content that will appear inside the window, including layouts, controls, and graphics, and you can even switch scenes dynamically, just like changing sets in a theater to present different views or screens in your application. Within the scene we place nodes, which are the individual elements that make up the interface, such as buttons, text fields, images, layouts, and other controls, and each node represents a visual or interactive component that the user can see or interact with, and these nodes can be arranged in different layouts to create structured and visually appealing designs. At the core of every JavaFX application is the requirement to extend application, which defines the life cycle of the application and ensures that JavaFX can properly initialize and manage it. And within this class we override the start method, which acts as the entry point where we build our state, scene, and nodes and connect everything together before displaying it to the user. One of the biggest advantages of JavaFX over Swing is its ability to handle modern UI requirements such as high DPI screens, smooth animations, and advanced styling using CSS, which allows developers to design interfaces with rounded corners, shadows, gradients, and transitions in a way that feels similar to web development, making applications look much more polished and modern. Additionally, JavaFX includes built-in support for animations, which means buttons and other UI elements can move, fade, or transform smoothly, enhancing the user experience and making applications feel more dynamic and interactive rather than static and outdated. To visualize everything together, imagine running a theater production where the stage is the building, the scene is the current set design, and the nodes are the actors and props all working together to deliver a complete performance, and JavaFX provides all the tools needed to design, control, and animate this performance in a modern, efficient, and visually appealing way. This example demonstrates how JavaFX is used to build graphical user interfaces in Java, where instead of printing output to the console, we create an actual window with interactive components and events, and the entire program follows a structured life cycle managed by the JavaFX runtime, which makes it very different from normal Java programs. The class begins by extending application, which is the base class for all JavaFX applications, and this tells Java that a program will follow the JavaFX lifecycle and must implement the start method, which acts as the entry point for building the user interface once the application launches. Inside the start method, we are given a stage object which can be thought of as the main window of the application, like a blank frame on your screen where all visual elements will be placed, and this stage is where we will attach our scene and display everything to the user. We then create a button, which is a simple interactive UI element that the user can click, and we set its action using a lambda expression, which is a short and clean way of writing event handling code, and when the button is clicked, it prints a message to the console showing how user interaction can trigger behavior in the program. Next, we create a layout container called StackPane, which is responsible for organizing and positioning UI elements, and in this case, StackPane automatically places its children in the center, so when we add the button to it, the button appears nicely centered in the window without needing extra positioning logic. After that, we create a scene which acts as the content holder for everything that will be displayed inside the window, and we pass the layout container along with width and height dimensions, which define how large the visible area of the application will be. Once the scene is ready, we attach it to the stage using setScene and give the window a title, and finally call show, which makes the window visible on the screen, and this is the moment when everything we built becomes visible to the user. In the main method, we call launch, which starts the JavaFX runtime engine, and this method takes care of initializing the application, creating the necessary threads, and eventually calling the start method where a UI is constructed. To visualize this, imagine building a small interactive display booth where the stage is the empty booth, the scene is the designed interior space, the StackPane is the arrangement of items inside, and the button is an interactive object that visitors can press to trigger an action, and the launch method is what opens the booth and allows people to start interacting with it. Overall, this example shows how JavaFX organizes GUI development into a clear structure where the application lifecycle, layout management, and event handling all work together to create interactive desktop applications in a clean and modular way. I hope this explanation helped you clearly understand the GUI programming and its core components in a structured and easy way. Continue learning, keep practicing, and stay consistent with your preparation. More detailed concepts are coming next.